something I've been thinking about recently is perception of your own problems and stresses and just the things that anything that just causes you distress in your life when you think about it. And something I've been noticing lately is the different ways I feel thinking about my own problems versus when I hear about somebody else's problems, which could be of a very similar or, worse nature. And what I've noticed is when I'm thinking about my own stuff, I feel extremely zoomed into it. I don't really feel like I'm looking at the wider picture. I just feel very overly emotionally involved in it to just kind of an unhealthy degree. And when I hear about somebody else's, I feel like a lot more of a healthy separation from it, where I can empathize with this other person's problems or whatever is going on with them, and have compassion for them, and want this situation to be resolved for them so they can move on and kind of be free of whatever is burdening them. But I don't feel so emotionally involved. I feel like I'm zoomed out a little bit. I don't feel like I am exactly in their shoes, feeling like a full-on emotional reaction as if it was my own situation, my own problem. And for example, lately I've just had some kind of like annoying things pop up at work, just some systematic issues and things I'm dealing with, and just some annoying stuff that I don't think should be going on, and is causing me distress to be there at work, and it's causing me to dread going into work a lot of times, and I guess to take work home with me. People say, I don't take this job home with me. It all just stays there, and then I'm just kind of free to live my life normally outside of work. And sometimes I felt like that, but lately it's just been, I feel like I'm taking it home. I'm thinking about it a lot more. It is bleeding into my normal life to an unhealthy degree. I'm just like way more emotionally involved in it, and that's kind of how I feel about my own issues. And then my partner, who works, we both work multiple jobs, but we have one similar job, just a coffee shop job, and she'll sometimes come back and be telling me about her issues at work, and it's a lot of stuff that, were I in that position, I know I would be much more stressed out about it, because I would be living through all of these moments. I would be thinking about it outside of work, and it would just take up a lot more kind of brain space to be dealing with this. But when I hear about her problems, I don't have that emotional attachment to it. It just feels a little bit more zoomed out. Like I'm, this thing sucks, and I don't want that to be happening. And I hope, if there's anything I can do as far as like advice or anything I could possibly do to help, I'd want to do that. But I'm not getting stressed about it. I'm not feeling dread before she goes to work, and I'm not, it's not bleeding into my day the way that my own stuff will. And I thought there's really no difference between these except for just my mindset about it. And because I'm hearing about somebody else's, I'm not literally living through all the experiences. It's like she goes off to work, whatever is happening, comes back home. So that's the time that I see her. I'm not seeing her at work. I see her at home during just our normal life that we share and have made together, like all the things that we have chosen for our lives together. That's what I'm experiencing. So that feels way more real. Whatever, just kind of like annoying small things or whatever, or bigger things, really just any problems that's going on while she's at work, just doesn't feel that important, at least for me to be. It's important for to deal with those problems, of course, but it's not something that I need to be stressed out about personally. It's not something that I need to let like bleed into other aspects of my life and just kind of generally lower my general well-being, the way that I let my own problems do sometimes. And I just thought, if I could think about, I guess I should say, I've had conversations about this with my partner, and we have kind of like the same perspective where her stuff is stressing her out, but not stressing me out, and then vice versa. I'll tell her stuff about my day, and it's nothing too major. It's just everybody has just your general everyday annoyances and stresses at work. So it's just that kind of thing. And I'll tell her my stuff, and I'll be more stressed about it, and she won't be. And it's nice just to have somebody that's like thinking a little bit more rationally about it and is not like so emotionally tied in. When I tell her about my stuff, she has a much wider perspective about it, and kind of rightly so, helps me kind of work through it, thinking of it that way. That these things are overall in the big picture very inconsequential, and it is worth doing what I can to work through these problems, but it's not worth letting it bleed into my life and just like cause me distress. And so I've been trying to think of it that way. This healthy level of, I don't know if detachment's the right word, because I think that has kind of a negative connotation, but a healthy level of maybe compartmentalization that I feel when hearing about other people's problems. I'm hoping that, not hoping, I'm trying to think more of my own issues in that way. I just think about, instead of me living through every moment of it and kind of reliving it as I talk about it and maybe being even more upset and just kind of like amplifying all of those stresses, just thinking about it like I'm telling somebody else about it. I'm telling my friends, about whatever issues going on. And, this friend is supportive of me and wants to help, but is also thinking about it a little bit more rationally and more from a wider perspective. And they're not zoomed in. They're not right in the middle of it like I am. And I'm just trying to think of my own issues in that light. And sometimes I do still feel very zoomed in and kind of distressed about it, and sometimes I'm able just to take a different perspective of it, and it just doesn't bother me so much. I'm able to see kind of the insignificance of all of these little things to deal with, and it just makes me feel a lot lighter, less burdened with this stuff, less heavy. I have less to emotionally carry along with me, and it leaves me feeling a lot more free just to live my life doing the things that I choose to do without having my work or other obligations, that kind of stuff, influence so much. Everybody's got stuff that they don't want to do, and they have to do just general life tasks and obligations, but that stuff doesn't need to take up any more time than it already does. You just do those things and then let it be, and go live the rest of your life. The stuff that you are all the things that you're choosing to do with your life, all the obligations don't need to get in the way of that. And this makes me feel a lot more like I have a lot more time, or I'm a lot more able to use the time that I have, the free time that I have, to direct towards things that are important to me rather than being consumed by just worries about other obligations and things that I have to do. So that's just been my kind of thought process about how to think about some things, just some stresses and life things coming up for me. Anyway, maybe that type of perspective might help you out if you've been dealing with whatever you're dealing with. And if you are, and as somebody from an outside perspective who is not in your shoes, I think that whatever you're going through is it's not as serious as it seems. And I know, of course, there's a degree of seriousness to everything. There's much worse things happening to people than just having a bad day at work or whatever. But just in general, just these little life stresses, they're not very significant. They're just little things that we can kind of just pass over, just with some grace and some ease. Just kind of move through it and move on. So I don't know if that helps to hear, but that's the way I'm trying to think about my own stuff, and I think it helps just to have a healthier perspective about it. So anyway, I hope that helps you, whatever you're dealing with.